Hello and welcome to Xena Warrior Podcast Minisodes. My name is Vera and I'm joined as always by my two analytical co-hosts.
Okay,
that's true.
Katie.
Hi.
And Livy.
Hi.
Yeah, you feel...
I think people probably listening would agree that we are analytical, yes.
I hope so.
Yay. Well, first of all, I want to say happy anniversary, guys.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
that's
Vera,
nice.
did you get us a giant diamond?
From De Beers.
It's weird. Oh, people.
People are like, what is happening?
Wait, what? Of what? Of what?
Well, of our podcast.
Oh,
because
4 years.
Yeah, it's easy to remember for us
Yes.
every 4 years. Because
4 years.
yeah,
Yes.
only every 4 years
The
do we
world
remember.
cries out for a podcast. Yes.
November 2016.
Yep.
Here we are.
Yep. We launched the week of the election, so we always every election we mark it
All right.
as an anniversary of our
Okay.
Is it?
podcast.
Is this one is done? Hooray!
Yeah.
Even though some people don't seem to think it is, it's done. It's over.
Yeah.
Even they
It's
secretly
done.
know it's done.
It's
or
over.
not even so secretly.
Well,
God, what a great thing to have had this podcast for the last 4 years, which were an awful, awful hellscape that is not yet over, but
Yeah.
it's been really sustaining and wonderful. So yay.
I mean, yeah, I was just going to say that, like, thankfully, right now, it's a little bit, it's still cloudy and murky,
In a way,
but
it's
it's a
the
little
darkest
bit,
it's ever been.
yeah,
but-
Right.
but yes,
Almost not.
But at the same time,
yeah, it's bright, it's a completely different kind of
we see
thing
a light at
happening.
the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, but,
coming.
yeah, so, like, this time, it's different than
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
it was 4 years ago when we just launched, so...
It will be interesting to see, what Xena Warrior podcast is like in a world without Trump.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same.
Exactly
we don't
the
really. We don't talk about. We talk about
We talk
Xena
about Xena and stuff.
and like random
But
stuff.
maybe it'll mean something a little different to you, listeners. I don't know.
They don't need us anymore.
Well,
I hope you still need us.
but they literally didn't need us after that 2016 election. So
Ugh.
I'm hoping that now they listen just out of joy,
Yeah.
instead of out of like.
celebration.
Yes, exactly.
Cool. Well, happy 4th.
Yay! Well, in honor of that, no,
Yeah.
not really. We're just on a minisode here.
Yes, we have another excellent patron-sponsored minisode upon us.
Today's minisode is brought to you by Drew and his son Lucas. Usually,
Who work for De Beers. No, they
They
don't.
don't.
people are like, "What's with the De Beers?"
Go listen to
Why
our
does Xena
podcast.
Warrior podcast have product placement? I feel like most of our minisodes, we mention the patron and then get down to business. This one is going to be a little different because I would say that in many ways, Drew and Lucas are the stars of today's minisode. So let me introduce you to them. This is in Drew's own words. I knew from the time my son was born that there were a few shows we would watch together, beginning to end. The first was, here's a twist, Charlie's Angels.
Amazing.
All right.
I would have to wait for him to be a little older for Xena.
Okay.
So when he turned 10, we set out to not only watch the series, but rank and evaluate each episode. What an idea.
Much like Xena Warrior Podcast.
I know.
Excellent choice.
Great minds.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
the purpose of this Xena Warrior Princess episode ranking process was fivefold. Now, I'm already in awe, because,
Yeah.
Xena Warrior Podcast did not have an episode ranking process.
No, I mean...
We don't know, numbers and math.
this-
We would maybe call out what had been ranked by fans.
That's
as
true.
best.
Yeah, we knew like a top 10 list, right? That's as high as our numbers would go.
But as you may recall, our top 10 list was a bloodbath. We hated it.
Right, that's true.
When we got to the end of it, we declared it invalid.
Okay, but the amount of numbers that went into this worksheet...
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
genuinely make me nervous. Math
we are
scares
not
me.
math students. We are
No.
film students.
Yes, this is... Yeah, Drew, you need to do my taxes or something. This is amazing.
Okay.
Okay, so let's hear about the five-fold ranking process. Number 1, they are going to rank the episodes of Xena from best to worst.
Nice.
Okay. Sounds
That's a lot.
reasonable.
134 episodes.
It's a lot of episodes. Number 2, we're going to come up with an essential episodes list to follow the show's plot and themes.
Okay.
I was thinking about this as like a recruiter list. This is something we've talked about on the podcast where, what episodes do you show people who maybe aren't sure they want to watch 134?
Yeah. Watch these. These are the best of the best. You get the whole story. You don't watch any garbage that you don't need.
Okay, here's where things get really impressive,
Okay.
I think, for Drew and Lucas. Number 3, they're going to use the data to determine why some seasons excelled and others failed.
Okay.
Whoa.
All right.
Whoa.
I like this.
Number 4. Okay, this is Drew's third full pass at Xena, so he's hoping to pick up on things he previously missed. I have a feeling he did. Rewatching, as we can vouch for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
is,
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's like a whole new program. Okay, and then number 5, in many ways the most important of all, is to impart to Lucas the enjoyment of Xena and teach him how to experience art critically.
I love this so
great,
much.
so great.
Wow.
Yeah, and I mean, it's jumping ahead to like the show they're currently watching, but I just love that right now he starts with Charlie's Angels, like ladies, and then continues with Xena, ladies.
Excellent choices.
Yeah, this is
And there's a third one they're currently watching, also ladies.
Yes, we'll get to that too.
Yeah, no, I love this so much. So I wish everybody would do this with their kids.
Yeah,
People
for
need
sure.
to absolutely learn this stuff early, and then you
can do
and-
math to rank every
Oh my god!
episode.
Well, no, but to really appreciate what goes in
Yeah.
to all these shows and art. Yes.
Yeah, and
Okay.
just show their children
Yeah.
awesome stuff.
Okay, so what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we
Sitting in
Explain.
awe.
We have
had a prompt.
the results of Drew and Lucas's findings, but I think maybe we should save that till the end.
Yeah.
We want to participate in this project, even though it's already complete. So we have chosen an episode of Xena. Maybe you've guessed what it is already. We'll see.
Yeah.
We didn't want to choose anything too great,
Right.
or beloved.
Because they would just be sitting here 10 stars, A++, best. That's, you can't choose Ides of March and then be like, is this relevant?
Yes.
Is it good? Of
Yes.
course it is. Of course it is.
And of course, Eyes of March scored the only 100 perfect
Right.
percent.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
That's why I use that as an
Perfect
example.
100 for June.
Yes.
But I think that makes sense in any kind of ranking system, that there is a benchmark, a gold standard, and in that case, it's Ides of March, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, there was some debate in the household about what would work for this. Part of it is, I think,
Yes.
we didn't want anything we actively disliked
Right.
either.
Yeah.
Actively
It can't be
dislike,
so bad.
or
that
maybe
it's-
just actively like too much,
Yes.
even if it's stupid.
I tried to make Katie do The Abyss, which she vetoed, which is shocking. Because
Listen.
Katie only likes 5 minutes of The Abyss, and she secretly knows it would fail the worksheet.
It's still relevant.
It's still very relevant and essential in its way.
And season 6 ranked pretty high on all of the.
We'll get to that. That is one of the most interesting
I love
findings.
that. I love
from-
that. And
from
I-
Drew
But
and Lucas.
and
yeah.
also, I felt like in my suggestions that I think has been proven over the last 4 years that we always gravitate towards the drama and the
That's
melodrama.
true.
Yeah.
So to do perhaps a comedy one
a little
would
bit
be more challenging.
of a curveball.
Oh,
A little
boy.
curveball for us.
I also think that
Yeah.
this particular episode is one that we did not like when we recorded, but I always felt that I was maybe grading it a little too harshly. So I was actually very eager to revisit this one. We'll see. We'll see.
Wow.
We'll see. I mean,
Yeah, I get what they-
I think I graded
Yeah.
it too harshly.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I'm willing to say
So
it.
the episode is
Fids, Febs, and Gems.
Yeah.
Brought to you by De Beers.
Yup.
Yeah.
So we're
so
gonna go through. Yeah.
let's. I feel like season 3 is just kind of a nice. It's a good season. Everybody looks good.
Yeah.
And it's kind of smack in the middle of the
thought
show.
in this episode, everybody looked cold. Did anybody else get that impression? This is just random.
I mean, they're
Everybody looked
wet a lot.
freezing.
They are wet.
But it looked windy.
Are you saying that
cloudy,
that was
and they had
winter
their
in
kind of
New Zealand?
brownish, like, 90s purple, red, brown lipstick on, and it just made everybody's lips look like they
Dead.
were frozen. Yeah, I just was like,
Titanic
everyone looks
lips.
cold. They just look good, like, generally in everyone's hair and whatever.
Because
I
it's
just
so
thought everybody
sunny
looked
and
cold.
like warm.
Right. It's meant to look perfect. They literally talk
I think
about
it was
it.
winter.
Yeah.
Dang.
New
Well,
Zealand.
if we, I
don't
didn't
know.
re-listen to us,
We
so I
couldn't
don't
actually
remember the
confirm
fact. Yeah, it's either summer or winter.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are going to take you through the many different subcategories of the worksheet. You are going to become familiar with it as we fill it out. And also we'll share it on our social media so that if you would like to apply it to as all the episodes of Xena, if you so choose, you are welcome to. Shall we begin?
Yes, let's. Okay, so Femmes, and Gems. We have rewatched it, and we are ready to debate our rankings, come to a consensus through all of the categories, and then we'll see how our numbers add up with Drew and Lucas's. Okay.
We have Drew and Lucas's score for this episode to compare with.
Okay.
So the first thing to know about the worksheet is it is divided into an objective category and a subjective category.
I like this.
Yeah, which is already very smart, I think. When I first kind of saw
The Abyss, 500 points.
Yeah, we could have done the Abyss now.
But yeah, when I first saw this project, I was like, oh my God, art is subjective. How can you make a worksheet to evaluate it? But then I saw that half the worksheet is pick a score because you like it.
Got it.
So we'll get to the subjective part. That's for the end. We're going to start with the more objective half, which breaks down into two different subcategories, or two different categories with many different subcategories, excuse me.
Gotcha.
There's a writing category and a technical category.
Okay.
So we're going to start with writing.
Okay.
Does this
Who wrote
episode,
this episode?
have any?
Does it have any writing? Who wrote it? I forget.
Armis and Foster.
Yeah.
Nora K. Foster and
All right. Yes.
Armis.
Got it. Okay.
So that immediately, if you're familiar with Xena writers, tells you what kind of episode this is going to be.
Okay.
Okay.
Deeply goofy. Okay.
It was also written very quickly because they had to throw out the plot line about Gabrielle being obsessed with sex.
Right.
Which we talked about in our original.
miss it.
Right.
I
So
like
there's
that
quick
outline.
rewrites. And
Yeah.
even from had they had put the sets together
Right.
and things.
You can
Yeah,
see
the
the
Kama
see it
Sutra
in
bits
there, yeah.
are
Still
on the
there.
wall.
Okay.
So this was a very hasty revision,
Yeah.
which I think is apparent in
Okay.
the writing
Okay.
of the episode.
All right.
So let's start with the first subcategory in writing.
Okay.
It is creativity and originality.
Okay.
So for this, we give it a score out of 3 points.
And I can decimals like we're in the Olympics.
Yeah.
If you
Vera
so
from the
choose-
Russian judge.
From
you
the
so
Russian
choose-
judge, have you bribed me?
Oh. De Beers.
I'll take a da beer.
Well, because there's lots of like stats in their findings, so I just feel like there are like it's not just
Yeah.
like
It
1,
has
2,
to
or
be.
3.
I
It's
have
like
a feeling-
1.3.
Yeah, you can do
Yeah.
1.5
Okay.
or
The stats
something.
go up into like the hundredths of a point.
Okay.
So,
Yikes.
yeah.
Okay. All right. I mean, it's pretty original. This is
I think I could
Is it
easily
based
give
on
this
anything?
a 3. This episode
Yeah.
is out of its mind.
it's truly wild.
I'll go 2.75.
Well, we have to. It's one score. We're doing one mind.
2.75.
Yes. Well, the podcast has to come to a consensus.
Fine, I'm ruled.
Really? You're okay
Well,
with
I don't.
I think okay.
I told you the math scares me.
It's creativity and
and originality as
originality.
one.
Yeah.
One
Okay,
category.
Is what's his name? Tarzan that original? No.
I mean, as a
Well-
concept, no, but what is he doing in this comedy?
yeah.
It's like they
Zigzagging?
pulled obsessions out of a bag.
Yeah.
Whether or not you think that's a good thing.
yeah, right.
But
so
of course,
take
that
it down
is
a
maybe
notch.
something to think about in a worksheet. How important is creativity, originality? Very,
it-
or
it
not at all?
Yeah.
It depends, because of course you can take any old tale and put your original spin on it. Xena has done that
Many a time.
many times.
Sometimes it's good to have a formula that you're following. This
All right.
episode really doesn't have one.
2.75, guys.
2.75.
All right,
All right,
2.75.
we're cool with
Yeah.
it. We're gonna put that into the spreadsheet.
Okay.
I love this. It's fun.
All right, so the next category
Yeah.
is dialogue.
Oh,
I would give it a 3.
that, I mean, it's got some good.
It's really...
However, can
Okay.
we minus like maybe like a fraction for just the constant Joxer being the ape noise?
Yeah, his dialogue
Yeah.
is
It goes
terrible.
on and on. Does that count as dialogue?
This was something I wanted to point out. Drew actually, in his original message to us, did say if there's any improvements you guys could give to the worksheet, let me know.
Okay.
One that I can think of is, writing as a category is a great idea, but the way most episodes of Xena break down, there are, an A plot and a B plot.
Well, it's the most, most
Sometimes a
television
C-plot,
shows.
yeah.
At least from the back then.
Just get intensely granular with the A plot, B plot.
I would want to
Yeah.
be ranking those A plots and B plots.
Yes, yes.
This
Sometimes
one would
C,
get
yeah.
a 0 for that Addis
Zero
the Ape
for the-
Man
for the B
Yeah.
plot. We
Yeah.
hate that.
We do. There were like 3 really funny moments
There were some
with him.
That's the thing. That's why it's like,
I want to know what the
But
three
they
were.
involve Gabrielle.
if it was less, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
If it was like,
Do you think I wanted
Even,
Joxer
like,
to be
just
at his
one-
statement? Absolutely not.
Oh, I forgot there was so much of it. To be honest.
Yeah, it kind of takes over at a certain point, kind of in the middle third.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that a thing?
Hermes and Foster were like, oh my god, we have to rewrite this quick.
Let's just
get
have
Ted in
more
here.
Ape
Alright,
Man.
so maybe like but the dialogue is really good. Like Xena has great dialogue.
It's
Gabrielle.
funny. The goons are really
Yes.
funny.
Aphrodite
is really funny.
That's good stuff. So I like that.
2.9.
Yeah, let's do 2.9.
2.9.
I hope we're
Very
allowed to
generous.
use- It's okay, we're using them.
Okay.
2.8?
No.
Okay.
I'm totally fine. I
Okay.
feel like the dialogue is one place where this episode really stands out.
Yeah.
So, okay, here's one where it maybe doesn't stand out. Organization and focus.
Oh,
Oh
one.
boy.
1.5.
I think Drew said, I don't speak film grad, so if you want to improve upon this, you can. I would probably call this structure if I were
Okay.
writing this.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Does it have any?
It's a sloppy one. It has
Yeah.
a open and it's got an ending.
It has-
That's nice.
they
And then it has
exist.
stuff in between.
There's some stuff.
I mean, it does, it progresses.
from
There are
one-
threads
Yeah.
that then all combine
Yeah,
in
exactly.
a conclusion.
Yeah.
2.2.
I mean, you could probably do 2.
1.7, I say.
1.8.
1.8. Yeah.
All right, we got there. 1.8
Yeah.
for
I'm so-
organization and focus.
Because it's really, and yeah, it is maybe not fair because it had to do all that rewrites, but it is trying to go. Yeah, it does
I
have
will
a
say-
plot. It's got the gem.
Yeah.
The thing is gonna go with
But
the fire or
obviously
whatever.
the whole premise is that there's a plot and the characters keep forgetting about it.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
maybe it actually should be ranked higher because it actually is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing, which is that the characters are forgetting about the main plot. And
I
that's
actually
the point.
really appreciated that in maybe the first 20 minutes of the episode. It almost feels like a hangout piece.
Mm-hmm.
You're just having a good time by the lake with
Uh-huh.
Xena, Gabs, and I guess Joxer too. But then it kind of like ran out of steam. I think
Okay.
that's why I would rank it low, actually. It's not the
fine.
fact that it is plotless, because that is kind of like a feature, not a bug.
That's fair.
It's that it actually just couldn't figure out how to keep that going for 40 minutes.
That's fair to
Yeah.
say. All right.
All right, next.
Next is end/conclusion.
Oh, that was good.
It has one.
Yeah.
You think it's good?
Well, good-ish. I don't really know. I thought you meant the last scene. That's
The
good.
end,
Does
the
that not
last
count?
scene.
I think that's the end.
That adds something. I think you would probably include the climax in here too.
Really?
Just the resolution of all the
Because
plots.
then at
which is
minimum
bad.
too. Because if it counts the last scene, which is Gabrielle and Xena looking at the stars
Yeah.
on the blanket, then
That's
that's a straight up 10
That's like-
points out of 3.
Yeah.
So-
That's higher than.
But I think I would include, how Xena catches Solaris, gets the diamond back into the sky, and how they break the obsession curse.
Okay.
Which is particularly the last one for me really sucks and is
The
bad.
Xena one?
Like, I just hate that they
realizations?
have psychological insight, which it just feels so fake to me.
Gab's being like, I'm a sidekick.
I'm
All
a
of a sudden
sidekick
it's
and
like
no one
adding
notices.
drama to
Yeah.
a thing that didn't really have it to begin with.
Right. I
Got
also don't
it.
think her unresolved feelings about Lycius is like very well integrated into the
1.5.
episode.
I did like the little flashback though. 1.5.
I did, yeah.
They were cute in the
But
flashback.
the stars.
Yeah, the stars.
Okay, maybe I'll save that for my objective points. Subjective points.
I mean, I think
sorry.
you're right. That like honestly, 1.5 to me feels high. So
Okay,
we
wow.
can give it a 1.5.
Okay.
All right,
do it
1.5.
Yeah. All
All
right.
right.
So the end gets a 1.5,
Okay.
mostly for stars. All right. Next category: twists.
Were
I
there
don't think there are
twists?
any twists, really.
Well,
Are there?
finding out that Xena's obsession is about her fish and her brother. Brother fish.
Brother fish. And that she
Because that was like not at all part of
actually
any kind of
launches the
episode.
fish into the sky.
That's a twist.
That's just like
That's the plot.
her
That's just the
solution
plot.
to the plot.
Yeah, I don't think this episode really has.
It's a twist that they
twists.
didn't fix Joxer.
I feel like a twist is like, I don't know what a twist is.
I don't think this one had.
Callisto's alive again. Or
Yeah.
Yeah,
This one
a
doesn't have-
surprise, I guess.
Hope
Yeah.
is here, looks exactly like Gabrielle.
Yeah.
like, that's
I
a
guess
twist.
This episode doesn't really surprise you much. That's not really its goal, admittedly.
Yeah.
But it certainly doesn't do it.
yeah.
So we're gonna give that a 0.
I guess so, yeah.
0 for
I mean,
twists.
is the twist... I guess the twist could be that the thing happened to them in the first place. Like, that Aphrodite, did this.
That's true. I mean, in a way, the most surprising thing about this episode is that its premise is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no twists.
Yeah, it's sorry.
I
I mean,
see.
this is the thing, and I think Drew accounts for this. He's weighting many, many different
Right.
facets about equally. We've been grading everything out of 3, except for twists, where he's actually only giving it
2.
a maximum of 2.
Oh, okay.
Because I think he agrees that this is not the most important feature of
Got
a
it.
good episode
Yeah,
of TV.
that's fair.
But if it can nail it, it elevates it
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. Next category, characters.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. This is, I feel like, would be higher.
This seems higher. As Vera pointed out earlier, even the goons are distinct in this episode.
Yeah.
I think Katie pointed that out, but
Oh, sorry.
yes, they are.
They are.
I agree completely.
Credit where it's due.
That's the
what
next
Gabs would
one.
say.
That's the next one. So I
What
like
is it?
it.
Yeah. But obviously the whole episode is kind of about character. Like it's sort of a character-driven episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That seems
I
fair to
guess.
say. If it's driven by anything.
I think you have to think about what. How do you feel about Xena, Gabrielle, and Joxer in this episode? Those are the 3 mains who are in it, right? So
Yeah.
Are they
they
well
stood out
characterized?
for sure. It was structured with their 3 obsessions, and I thought you got a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
And these new versions definitely were there. So I think
Right.
I think it
you're
ranks
saying the
high.
very fact that they're acting out of character
Is the character?
is the
Yeah,
character.
exactly. Yeah,
It kind of it's like looking at a
Smart.
negative to see the positive.
right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's what I
Smart.
think it is.
I like that.
But
Yeah.
I could be totally
Okay.
wrong.
No,
So what's
I
the-
think that's fair. So what would you give it for character out of 3?
I mean, I would give it. So my subjective thing is that I really loved Gabrielle. So in this, she was really funny as
Yeah.
this Adonis character.
Which is funny because the whole episode is like, give Gabrielle her due. It's not just the Xena show.
Yeah.
Gabrielle's here. And you're like, yeah, she steals this episode. That's how good she is.
And Xena, of course, the fishing is also really funny.
is.
And if the fact that she doesn't even think she's under a spell is funny.
Yeah.
So, and certainly Joxer was full on ape man, even though we hate it. So I would give it a high rank for this one.
I would too.
But
Alright.
even the other characters, as you said, Aphrodite enters hilariously into
Yeah,
her
she's
temple.
Could we give
the
this a
goons are
perfect
great.
score? Or
For this?
what would you take off points for?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I'm allowed to take up the fact that I just like hate the ape man thing, but he was it really
It's
like
too
successfully.
And the ape man had layers. It kind of becomes quite heroic and noble.
Maybe I would take off a little bit of points for kind of what you said earlier, that like they could have found a way for it to be, you know, a little bit more pulled together, character driven, being out of character, like that it could have actually led to Gabrielle being like, I'm undervalued. Like it kind of comes out of the blue.
I want to say, okay, so I have not re-listened to our podcast, but so I don't know if I'm like rehashing what we actually said or if I'm coming up with new brilliant ideas.
Maybe
now.
It's been a while.
But I would have loved that each of these was like not just something that they stared at and then became obsessed with, but something that was like genuinely
like
part of them.
Yeah.
So like, granted, Xena does love fishing, so that's not a stretch. The Gabrielle thing could have been something more than that,
was
and
actually on her mind.
And like Joxer. He wanted to, you know, bang Gabrielle. That was on his mind.
That's
It did
clearly
come
the
out of-
psychological insight that he would have had to have.
So, like, technically speaking, that was character driven, I suppose.
Okay, so I think maybe a 2.8 again.
Yeah.
I think I have to knock it down a little for not being the most smartest.
The most smartest.
Most smartest.
Okay, 2.8 for characters. Mm-hmm. The next category is villain.
Goon.
Who is the villain of this episode?
Whoa.
Is it the goon number 1? Or is it Solaris?
Whoa.
Or is it Aphrodite?
I guess.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it feels like no one. Honestly.
Well, the easy thing is to say the goon because goons are, you know, the episode bad guys always. And he was great.
If it's Aphrodite, 100 points out of 30.
Yeah.
I think so far all of them.
Ridiculous.
But she's only in one scene.
Yeah, but she set it all in motion by being hilarious.
Yeah. So, and like the goon of the week is great, and his sidekick goon is also
Are
great.
also very funny. They have a little conversation about eating a sandal.
It's really good. So that whole team is great. Solaris is an interesting one to bring up.
In many ways, he is the true villain.
I suppose. Because why? He eluded them catching him?
Yes.
Isn't Xena the villain then? Trying
true.
to catch this fish who's
Poor
minding
fish.
his own business?
Yeah, she literally launches him into space. What a way to die.
Oh, shit. Wow.
I don't think this episode will actually score high in this category.
I don't know. It sounds like it's 3 out of 3.
It
honestly.
has
These
3
are-
different villains.
These are great.
They're all good.
Yeah. I would give it a high score.
Yeah.
3.
Really? Like, that's what you give, like, Crusader or, like, Return of
aren't
Callisto.
we?
For this type of episode?
We,
But you have to compare it to that. Like, it's what kind of episode this is.
That was my question.
That's the next
do you
one.
literally have to compare it to other villains? Are you just...
You don't. You're comparing to the villain in
Right.
this episode to the episode you're dealing with.
That's
here.
true.
So
it
within this
succeeds for what it
episode-
is.
Yeah,
It-
exactly.
It has many villains because it's not
Yes.
really about, you know, opposition in that way. They're just meant to be there to kind of get things moving. And it's
But if I'm
non-existent
comparing
plot.
it to Callisto, then it gets a 0.
It gets negative points. But you're not supposed to do that, I think.
Yeah,
I think
I
you're supposed
agree.
to only judge it amongst itself.
Yeah, and you know these are memorable comedy villains. Except
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
Solaris, who's
A fish.
A fish.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying to give this a full 3 points.
I would do that, yeah. I think
Okay.
they were good.
I defer to you on that one. I probably would have graded it a little lower.
2.95.
Okay, so this is an interesting one. I think this is smart of Drew. He has a category that is called suspense or comedy. And he does it that way because the dramas run on suspense for their narrative tension, and he thinks the comedies obviously do something a little different. So we can ignore the suspense, even though I suppose there is some. You're wondering if they're going to forget completely about the plot.
Well, there was an entire part where Gabrielle was like dead in the water.
That's true. Were you worried for her?
Were you worried?
That was a suspenseful moment. I'm just
But then it
saying.
became a funny.
Yeah, see?
It is, with the exception of what's it,
Joxer,
ape plot
except
going on.
2 parts in
so
there,
long.
maybe 3.
It's very funny.
Yes,
Most
it
of
is
the jokes
really
land,
funny.
I would say.
I thought
Yeah.
it was really funny.
And it's like, it's such a bummer that other stuff is so distracting because I really hate it so
Yeah.
much that it becomes like a little bit of an overriding factor. So
Yeah.
I think it's got to be like a 2.75 because 8-man joke. You got
8-man
in and out
really-
with that, and
Yeah,
that's it.
that's
Not 20
really-
minutes worth.
Nah.
I
bad.
say we should actually take off a full point.
Whoa! All right.
Well, it's out of
For
3,
8-man?
right?
Yeah.
Out of,
All right.
one for
Yeah.
Xena, one for Gabs, one for 8-man.
I can't
what
support
about a
8-man.
2.2?
All right.
Yeah.
I'll accept 2.2
Because
as the
the
comedy
rest of it's
score.
funny.
He did have like some funny bits. It's very minor, but
Very.
and then some of them involve when he took Gabrielle. I thought she was hilarious.
She's
when
funny.
he was
Yes.
when he was
Her
like
performance is really funny.
Yes, she elevates.
she
that
really
stuff.
like invoked like I felt a connection.
Those
to her.
cutaways to Ape Queen version.
She was
of
great,
her.
and then like
Yeah.
when they were flying, and she was like, "I don't want to get dirty" or whatever. I really felt her there.
Oh, yeah, you would, Vera.
And she's like, "I don't like this." I really felt her.
Okay. The next category is tone and continuity. I thought this was an interesting one for Drew to include because for me, the fun of Xena Warrior Princess is that it is so variable in terms
Yeah.
of its tone.
Yep.
Yeah.
It has a discontinuous tone.
Well, it's tone / continuity, so I think it's kind of like suspense or comedy.
Yeah. So I
So
guess
it's-
whether
it's
it's
tone
able to
if it's a comedy or
maintain
whatever.
its own internal
Yeah, and if it's
tone.
like one of the serious drama ones, then it's continuity. It's progressing the continuity of
Yeah.
the main kind of story.
So how would you interpret that in regards to Finn's?
So this one is a comedy, yes.
This is like, I
But
mean,
is it a good, totally consistent and good?
I
like,
mean,
is it firing on all cylinders like a day in the life?
yeah, right, I was gonna say
Not
that.
quite.
Yeah.
But is it in the same tonal vein? Yes.
yeah, and you laughed so much at like a lot of it, I thought. So I think it is a successful comedy as far as an Hermes and Foster joke.
I think it's one of the, it's one of the better ones.
Yeah, I mean, it's very Armis and Fostery.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
there
very
have
Josh
been-
Becker.
Oh God! But I feel like that those combinations there have been worse episodes
Oh,
from
yeah,
them. So
for sure.
if you're kind of
Okay.
working for like a,
So you think this should get a relatively high score
I
because
don't think it's perfect,
it,
but
no-
I
it
think
knows what it is and sticks with that.
yeah, it definitely maintains like a comedy tone, unless you're like taking points off for like some serious Xena psychological
No.
flashbacks.
I did not think that worked, but maybe I'm in the minority.
Well, I thought it was just like a surprise.
Yeah, that's
That's
part
what-
of why it didn't work. You're like, where's this coming from?
I know.
Serious childhood flashback time.
Yeah.
I appreciate
I liked it, and that morph into adult Xena
Oh, that was a good morph.
amazing.
We'll get to
Put that in
in
the technical.
category. Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, so give it a score.
I would give it a 2.
I would go higher, like 2.5.
Like maybe we could do 2.3.
Okay.
All right, 2.3
Break
it
the-
is for tone. All right, the next category is subtext.
It was there.
Finally,
It was
100
there.
out of, is this out of 3?
points, out
Yeah.
of 3.
3.
Yeah, I would give this a 3.
It was-
This is
it was up
extremely
there.
This is
subtexty.
yeah, it's out of control.
But it was like, can we also talk about like not Xena and Gabs related subtext? There was like an entire exchange about like, SEX with Goon and Aphrodite.
That was a good scene, I thought.
That's subtext.
Very funny scene.
Technically speaking.
yeah, so there's just everywhere subtext all over.
100%.
Yeah,
Okay.
but the main subtext of Xena Gabs was fairly out of control
Yeah.
in this episode.
Oh
And
my God.
it gets a 3.
Though it does mess with us by teasing TV CPR and not giving it to
Yeah,
us.
but that's because it's
Right.
a funny one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
they have given it to us before, so
Yeah.
we'll give them a pass for that.
All right.
All right.
Not the lips.
He chaps
Chafe so easy.
yeah.
Oh, chap,
Yeah.
right. Lots of chafing and chap talk.
Oh no. Okay, what's next?
Okay, the next category is emotion.
Uh, 1.5.
Well, as Katie points out, the scene
For the
at the
ending.
end is
Yeah.
very sweet.
You're supposed to feel something for the Solaris backstory with Xena
You're
and Lysias.
supposed to. Yes.
I kind of liked it.
All right, Vera kind of
I liked it also when, she was like, your hair is just like Lycia's hair. Weird stuff like that. I liked it.
Well, you liked it because you were like, what? Does she see Gabrielle as her dead brother? What?
Well, we know she kind of does.
She kind of does.
2 then.
Yeah.
All right. A 2 for emotion. Mm-hmm. I would maybe go lower.
1.8.
Okay, thank you.
Oh my God.
Probably weren't supposed to use decimals on this.
Yeah, Drew is sitting here watching
I don't
this being
care,
like,
because-
your data's going to be really complicated
We're just
to
doing
read.
this one episode.
All right.
Okay.
It makes it easier, I think.
I would agree. All right, so the cold open, this is a 2-point category.
That was funny.
Yeah, I think it's actually a very effective cold
Yeah.
open. It sets up the entire plot. By the end of it, they're under the obsession spell. You understand what the stakes are, even though they're ridiculous and not important. It's the only scene with Aphrodite in
3.
it. Well, you can only give it 2 points.
Oh, 2. 2.
Yeah.
2
We'll
points.
give this one a perfect score. It's really one of the only things the episode gets right.
Okay, well, then it gets complicated because the next one's like writing total.
Right. So we have to add up numbers, something we're not very good
Yeah.
at. Let's see if I can make spreadsheet do it. Okay, so the total for writing, I am happy to announce I've made the Google Sheets work. This is out of a total of 34 points possible. We have given the episode 26.05
Nice.
points.
Okay.
All right. Not bad.
Not bad. It seems honestly really generous of
Yeah.
us, considering I was like, there is no writing in this episode, and somehow got most of the points.
It is funny.
It is. All right, technical.
Okay, so now we're moving on to the second half of the first half of the worksheet. The other category is technical. So this is like film production stuff.
Nice.
We should excel at this.
All right.
The first subcategory is the action. This is out of 3 points. It doesn't have much, I
It
must say.
doesn't. Yeah, this is low on it. There's swinging and vine
Yeah, there's
stuff. Does that
swinging.
count?
There's falling into water. Does that count?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of fights. This is low.
It's a
1.
stunt.
Yeah, it's pretty low.
Pretty low, and there's nothing memorable in terms of
No.
the stunt work.
Yeah.
I
would
would
agree.
give
I did
grade
like the
this pretty
swinging.
low.
You like this
We
one?
like the swing. That's an action.
Like, I don't love it as part of the plot, but some of it was funny. Like, the image of it was
Xena
funny.
is stealing Gabs and then landing.
Yeah,
is
that was
fun.
funny.
It's fun.
A point for that.
Okay, one. I think that might be the only point then.
Okay.
One of
All right.
3.
What about every time Gabrielle tries to get the kite and she's too short?
She's just jumping up and down.
Yeah, some good action there.
Okay. That's, no.
Okay, the next subcategory in technical is sets and costumes. I'm not sure I would make that one category, Drew, but we'll
Costumes,
we'll take it.
technically, usually are always the same, almost.
Yeah, but
Unless
this
they're
one,
not.
this one had some new
This
things.
one had the nighty.
Yeah.
I hate.
Nighty. It had Addis's woven garment that he wears early on. It had Gabrielle undoing her top. Which I feel like we got to see the top a little differently. That like little under piece that
Yes,
it has,
all
like
right.
sports bra piece.
Yeah,
2.
two.
I don't know.
I think it was like
Well, then this now I'm doing the thing we're not supposed to do. I'm like, well, an episode with gorgeous costumes.
yeah, but like I
versus-
mean, it could be yes, but within here, I don't know. For like the 90 and like that, I think it could be like
Why
one
did Gabrielle
one
have
point.
that?
I know. I don't understand that either. I think we said the same thing in the episode. when
Yeah,
we did.
that she would
weird.
have this nightgown.
I'll give it like 1.5.
1.5. Do we factor in sets? There's a
New Zealand?
New Zealand
Excellent
location.
Yeah,
location.
New Zealand is there.
Aphrodite's temple.
The temple is there, but it used old sets. Do we count against it
Beautiful
for that?
lake.
Why is Addis the ape man story a part of her temple?
Because it's a love story. Gabs tells us this, but it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, so there's really not that much sets involved.
Yeah. I guess we'll go with the 1.5
Yeah,
For New
let's do
Zealand.
it.
for New Zealand, and I guess for...
Having a 90 on Jaxer.
Yeah. All right.
But I feel like, it's also almost like minus points for being like, this makes no logical sense for Gabrielle to have. This
yeah, it's
Yeah.
actually a bit
clothing.
out of character.
Right,
It
yeah.
just literally doesn't make sense.
Yeah, this-
so it's
they're-
like
Would
negative.
you like to
comedy.
take points away?
No, that's 1.5.
1.5?
Fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, the next category is, we've already talked about it a little bit. Oh, sorry, this was out of 2. I didn't notice.
Which one?
Sets and costumes.
Oh,
So 0.5.
0.5.
Easy.
All right.
Easy peasy.
I think that's right on Drew. That isn't a huge part of an episode, but again, if done right, it can really
Yeah, you get
elevate
that full.
it. Hair and makeup is also out of 2.
Oh, I was just complaining earlier
About
how
their
everyone
dead
looked
lips.
cold.
Yeah, the dead lips could get points off.
I might have to give. They look so chilly.
Yeah.
I don't know what's up. Did you not notice this? Just
I mean,
me?
I didn't
I
notice
definitely, and I'm frequently hung up on the dark 90s lipstick in Xena. I do find it really unflattering and harsh, but I understand that it was of a time when that was in.
But this wasn't even like that look. It was like they looked like they were in a fridge.
They have this like dark purple eyeshadow and lipstick, and it's like, it's a thing.
Yeah, but they usually don't
not
look
my
like
thing.
this.
Yeah.
I would take a point off.
A point off for hair and makeup. Despite the fact that Gabrielle's hair especially looks so good.
Okay, 1.5, negative 0.5,
1.5.
because
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they look cold.
Okay.
I also like when Xena's hair is wet.
Yes, always. You should always.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
All right,
So
1.5.
almost the
1.5
full
is fine.
point.
I
Yeah.
think 1.5 is pretty good. Okay, now there's a category worth 3 points called audio visual. I feel like this is like the look.
Okay.
I wasn't quite sure
Is
about
this
this
is this
one.
where
That makes
Josh
sense.
Becker's directing magic comes in?
Well, there is going to be a category for
Oh,
direction.
for direction. Okay.
Yeah, that's the overall category.
But yeah, I think this is more maybe just an overall aesthetic look.
Yeah.
Like, does it have one?
It looks regular. It's
Yeah,
like
it
a
looks
regular
regular.
Xena. I don't think it's got anything like super special going on.
It has like
I like
ADR
the music.
for the goons.
The music, I
I
noticed.
know there's no music.
There
in this.
is no
Maybe
music
that
category.
goes in here. as a
I'm
music.
willing to put music in. The music is quite striking.
Yeah.
There was a moment where it was almost doing like a Celtic
Yeah.
dancey thing.
If that counts for audio, since there isn't like a specific sub line for music, I would rank it high. I liked that.
Yeah,
That was
I
like
agree.
unique to, well, not unique to this, they do that other times, but
It was
it was
noticeable.
funny. I
and
liked
fun.
it.
I also thought the editing for this episode, which again not really factored into its own category, we could maybe include it here. I thought the editing was very funny and helped
Yeah.
make some of the
Such
jokes
I mean, you're
work.
bringing
Yeah.
up sort of improvements into the thing.
Yes.
Where we think
Yes.
that
Oh.
there should be a music category,
music category and
an
editing category.
Just think the Oscars, technical categories of the
interesting.
Oscars.
sound design for Femmes, and Gems.
But that could go here, the audio.
Yes,
Yeah.
it has
Yeah.
a lot of whooshes.
And I liked
It's got like the silly Xena sound stuff.
There was like a really long ADR session with the goons. that
I would
thought
I
was
would
really
give
fun.
this the solid points for being regular Xena, good sound, crazy stuff,
Yeah.
and good music.
So you want to give this a 2.5? Half a point off for just not being especially distinctive?
Sure. Okay. Wait, that makes it sound like it should be like a 2.
Yeah,
That's
two.
true.
Let's give it a two.
All
Two.
right. Okay, the next category is casting. I assume this is
Oh,
more about the guest
yeah.
stars.
I think
They're
it's a
great.
3.
Three,
Yeah,
yeah.
totally,
They're awesome.
totally
There's not-
3. 3 out of 3.
Yeah, 3 out of 3, 3 great goons.
Yep.
Yeah, they were fantastic.
And Aphrodite is there as well.
Yep.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, really good.
Okay. Now the final category for technical is direction. Josh Becker.
Yo.
He is more of an actor's director than a anything else director.
That's why this episode looks normal.
This episode looks normal. The action scenes are not very good.
Swinging, fun.
Yeah. But everybody like had a lot of comedy stuff and they did it very well.
Yes.
So
Which he clearly brought out
Yes.
some especially great performances from Renee.
yeah. And like the opening when they when the three of our guys like get into the temple, like I couldn't watch it without hearing that blooper.
Yes.
Right? Isn't that crazy?
An infamous blooper where poor Lucy Lawless just cannot get out the exposition. Which is admittedly a lot. Yeah. I mean,
again, you're grading
TJ Scott.
You're grading it against like himself.
It's a solid.
It's his own comedy. Like,
regular.
How did he do here? I mean, I feel like everybody was ultimately very funny, and
like
that's
kept
his
the pace
job.
up, like, which is a hard thing to do when there's so little action in this episode. Like, the actors are able to carry the scenes.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, like I don't think Renee is like a easy improviser. So I feel like a lot of that came out of the direction. And she was incredibly funny.
Yeah, these are all good points. So I think this might be Becker's best.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is it out of 3?
Yeah, out of 3.
So maybe like a 2.75?
Yeah, I think so.
2.7.
I think
2.7.
so.
Right. 2.7. We can, and when we get to the total, we can round up or down. because their rankings have like a single or not decimals in the overall ranking.
So we are at the total.
Yeah, once again, we are going to total up for the technical category. Okay, so I have totaled up our ratings for the technical category. It's out of 16. We have given it a 10.7. That seems about right, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to round that up to 11.
Oh, yes.
Apparently.
You wanted to round it up.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll give it, but round both our figures. So we have a 26 for writing. We have an 11 for technical.
And now you're supposed to tally those up and have that number out of 50.
Okay, that is a 37 out of 50 for writing plus technical. I'll write that down. 30.
Right. That seems kind of low.
7. I think that sounds perfect.
I mean, that's correct for this episode. You're right. Yeah. You're right.
So now the second half of the other 50 points. This is the subjective area. Drew calls this the episode's entertainment value.
Okay.
So how were you not entertained by this episode? It's up to us to give it a numeric ranking out of 50 points.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay, so it's just based on our enjoyment level of sitting in front of this episode, watching it. I liked it. I didn't like it. I was entertained. This was fun. I wasn't bored, etc., etc. Like, okay, out of 50.
Yeah, out of 50. I feel for this one, you can't help but compare it to other episodes, right? It's very hard to just rank it in and of itself. I was entertained, like if I'm comparing it to all of television, I was amused sitting in front of this.
It's just too much good like subtext stuff and funny like little bits and
this is, of course, where you can put that last scene. You can give it a lot of, like, that last scene.
The fish thing, the just general Gabrielle. 40 out of 50, maybe?
Yeah. I was gonna say 37 just to match the other bit that we got. But
I would get behind that to give it the same score as it got in writing and technical.
Right, exactly.
But this is where you can just be like, well, I just thought this was funny. And even if it wasn't, like, the most amazingly put together, it's still, like, it's kind of stupid, but I like it. It's funny.
I feel that way about it.
Maybe 39.
Okay.
All right.
39.
I can do 39. Okay, so we're going to say 39 for entertainment value.
Okay.
That goes with our 37 for writing and technical.
Okay.
37 plus 39.
Okay.
It's 76.
All right.
Is that the total?
Yeah, that's the total out of 100.
All right. That seems like
I would get a C if this was school.
That's true. Oh yeah, that's it. Okay,
that seems right.
Well, seems right.
All
compared
right.
to A plus.
That's in the middle.
Yeah.
Would you like to know what Drew and Lucas gave?
Yes, that's what I was going to ask.
Let's do it.
Okay. They gave this episode an 85.
Wow. Oh, well, they liked it more.
Wait, what was our 70s?
76.
Yeah, so, I think we were pretty harsh on it.
So we are always pretty harsh. So I think our listeners would agree.
That's not a 9-point difference, but like out of 100.
Yeah.
Would you like to hear
Like-
about some of the other episodes that got 85s, according to Drew and Lucas? A Comedy of Eros got an 85.
All right.
The Abyss.
Okay. I mean, see,
Oddly enough.
this is
Anthony and Cleopatra.
middling episodes that
Yeah.
are
Anthony and Cleopatra.
just kind of.
It's pretty.
That
it's
wasn't
pretty-
a choice that I
Yeah,
posited.
Katie
for
threw
this.
that episode out. For
I
us to
happen
watch.
to like that one. I would give it. Maybe
would
I'd give it an 85.
I would give it a 1 for the Natalie Merchant, just for being awkward AF.
Deja Vu all over again.
Yeah.
Gets an 85. That seems very high.
I guess it has important stuff generally. If you're,
Yeah.
yeah,
Devi.
okay, all right.
Okay.
The Convert, which is the second Najara.
Second Najara.
A little bit of a
What
frustrating
does
one.
Crusader have?
Crusader, I will find you, Crusader. I'm scrolling up
Liv's
because I
favorite.
assume it's further up on this list. It gets a 94.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we did pretty. I mean, we were a little bit harsher, but I think we're on the same page.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I
think we kind of judged it similarly.
it's one of those things where, you grade on the curve, like maybe we're a little harsher, but we kind of see things in the same way.
Exactly.
We get to the same place
I
in the
think,
end.
yeah.
I'm scrolling just out of curiosity to see what gets a 76.
What's the worst?
What's the worst episode?
Ties That Bind gets a 76 for Drew and Lucas. So
Okay.
Give us the worst episode.
I kind of like Ties That Bind, but okay. The worst episode, it's a tie, and I gotta think about this.
Okay. I'm excited.
It's Forgiven
Oh. Okay.
and Punchlines.
Oh.
I don't mind either, and in fact, I like Forgiven. That's Tara.
Oh, I can see how you get negative points for her
put
bangs.
those above
Points for her mullet.
Yeah.
so,
She's not a favorite for people.
They both have 54s.
Yeah.
I'd put them above some season 5's Purity.
I'll admit that when I first scanned through this list of episodes, I went right to the bottom to see what's worst, expecting to see Purity and Back in the Bottle on there, and they score surprisingly high. I think in part because they do feature important character stuff. Whether or not you
guess
think
so.
it's good
Good or
character
bad, yeah.
stuff, I guess is a separate question. And I think probably later episodes in general score better within the technical categories just because they had more resources. But yeah, that shocked me. Also, almost at the bottom is Girls Just Want to Have Fun, which I
considered
I would say no.
Doing that one for this, just because I find it technically
like it.
speaking not great,
Yeah.
but I see why it's high.
Man, things are subjective. Shocking. Kindred Spirits, Drew and Lucas feel is really out of bounds because it does a poor job characterizing the Amazons. So it's the third worst episode according to them, even though we like it because of all the awesome Xena Gabs relationship talk.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
All right.
All right.
a lot of interesting.
I like this generally. It's just a way
like
to break
a good
everything
grading.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed
It's
really
interesting.
daunting at first when I
Yeah.
looked at all the decimals and all the maths.
Yeah, we haven't even got into Drew's analysis of the data.
Oof. Yeah, just even the terms like that, I'm sweating. But it is fun when you, it does make sense.
And it's a way of evaluating your own guidelines for, why do you like an episode?
Yeah.
What is important
Yeah.
to you?
Right.
Are there things you can hand wave? Are there things that need to be there or you're unhappy? I think in a way what you're really grading is yourself. Wow.
Whoa. Oh my gosh. I guess that's kind of true, though. It's truly always subjective.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would love to talk a little bit just about the analysis that Drew did. He says that one of the things that was really the most surprising to him when he actually did these averages for which season has the best score as an average. Season 4 is on top, not a surprise. at all.
No.
Yeah.
But number 2 is season 6.
I'm not surprised.
Not a
by
surprise
that
at all
Not a
for me.
surprise?
No.
Fucking high.
Did you expect season 3?
I expected
Because I think
season three.
season 3 comes up higher on some of the
Yes.
more broken down areas.
There are
but
a lot of different ways of
I'm not surprised at all.
entertainment value. Season 3 goes right to the top.
Season 6 has when you're kind of ranking it on these sort of writing technical merits and stuff, there's just solid episodes just nonstop.
And a lot of them really progress everything.
Yeah.
And it's the most beautiful season. It's just
They would
and
get
you've
high
kind of
technical
gotten to a
points
place
for
where
sure.
everything is emotional.
yeah, everything's
Right. Everything that happens is emotional.
As we said, no fucks given
Yeah.
season plus
Yeah,
emotional.
it's the no fun season. I love season 6. Yeah. And
Yeah.
season 3 is great because it has this stretch of this show that is probably one of the best stretches of the show, aside from season 4, just in general.
Mm-hmm.
It has maternal instincts, bittersweet, all that stuff. But around it, it's still more okay, this one was good, maybe this one was less good, blah, blah, blah. I feel season 6, while it doesn't really have that big arc that season 3 did, it has a lot of just solid episodes from start to finish.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised at all. I in fact, felt vindicated.
And that's right. I said from start to finish.
Okay.
All sorts of breakdowns of which season has the best
It's
dialogue.
cool. I like it because it does kind of prove what we have been saying all along, but with math.
But with math,
and that season 5 sucks, and
season
here is
5
literally the data.
Absolutely sucks according to the data. There is literally no place where it does not suck. It has for cold opens. Apparently, season 2 is worse.
Oh, okay,
but for the most part, it's finishing in the bottom for every category.
So yeah,
so
I
funny.
think that's really fun, and that's really cool.
Season 4 has the best villains. Interesting.
Okay.
Somewhere Alti is yeah, fuck yeah, it does.
Yeah. It was Najara's season 4.
Najara's
There you
season
go.
4, Crabs Woman.
Yeah.
It's all
So
for
we
Crabs
apologize if kids are listening.
Yeah, sorry.
We just have
Sorry,
that warning all over the place where we are just swearing all the time. Just don't think about it, so I'm sorry.
Cover your ears, Lucas.
I'm sorry.
What if Lucas came up with this whole worksheet and you've been giving credit to Drew?
That's true.
That's true. Lucas, we know it was all you.
But I just really want to stress that I really think this is such a great idea. I love this project.
Yes.
I would love other people to do this with their kids. I think it's a great way to break down all those elements of filmmaking and really study them and
Yes.
yeah.
And the fact that they're currently watching Gilmore Girls.
Or they might be done because it's been a long time because we take forever to get to things.
There are a lot of seasons of that, but
It's
yes,
true.
yes. But yeah, I mean, the fact that Drew is showing his son these shows that are technically, girly shows or whatever. Or
Female
focused.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. It's really, really important. So good job on you,
agree.
Drew. You're awesome.
We haven't talked about the essential list and the indispensability, which is another aspect of the worksheet. Drew and Lucas have included a few questions to help you evaluate exactly how indispensable an episode is. I will read you those questions. They are: does this episode further our understanding of the Xena-Gabrielle relationship?
Yes, no.
For
Yes.
Femmes.
I mean, it's so, because it's just it's just so tacked on. It just doesn't feel like it's doing anything. It doesn't feel like it's doing a lot of work. Where she's you don't value me, and she's I'll value you going forward. That's nice,
That's
but
nice.
what?
There
I don't
wasn't
know.
an episode about
it's
that,
not really
but sure.
yeah. So,
But the parts with them are cute.
Yeah.
So it's hard.
yeah.
Does it further our understanding? I would say somewhat, a little
Somewhat.
bit, because at least it's there. You
Sure.
know? Does this episode deepen our understanding of Xena and/or Gabrielle individually?
It was supposed to
It
with
was
their revelations.
supposed to.
It should have, but I don't think that it really
did.
does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we didn't like the execution.
Which is
of
part
it.
of why it feels so hollow.
Yeah.
Does this episode explore important series themes such as friendship, redemption, creating your own destiny, hatred's poisoning effect on the hater, and/or the greater good?
friendship. A little bit. No, this episode is useless.
Are there new characters introduced or significant plot developments that support the overall story arc or character development?
No, but that, you could
comedy.
certainly say that with Xena is an interesting case because it is kind of in that line of there are episodes that are doing a narrative. It's, early days television, mid-90s doing that. So there are episodes that are just filler. But, there are some that could be, indispensable to, the show itself as just being indicative of its great writing, tone, comedy, la-di-da, that doesn't, lend itself to the overall, story per se. I do think that, even the best ones of those, they are adding to it in some way.
Maybe a hard-to-measure way.
Yeah, so this one, no.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this would make my essential list that I would ask.
I would be
new
sad
to the show.
that people miss some of the moments in
They're
it,
fun.
like the kite and the lake stuff and the end. But maybe you
and
can
it's
just watch that on fast forward.
For a particular viewer who loves the comedies, this
Yeah.
would probably be on a best comedy list. In part because a lot of them are bad.
It would make a top 10 comedy, probably.
Oof, yeah.
But if that's all you like,
This is pretty funny.
Yeah.
sure.
I think
But
it'll be,
it's not essential to the show or the story that I think we're talking about.
This
I don't
episode,
think
I
most
should mention,
comedies
was
are
not
essential.
on Drew and Lucas's essential
Well,
episode.
there you
It
go.
should be. It should not. It
should not
literally
make
should
it.
not be.
There you go.
There's only
We agree.
one episode that really should be, and it would be A Day in the Life. That is
That actually is being
essential.
funny and adding
Yes,
to.
exactly.
I'm sure we could come up with some other
Every
comedies.
other comedy is
I like
stupid.
what is it called? The Plays the Thing. You see,
Okay.
this is sort of a
all right. I mean, that's a
character
character
for
one.
Gabrielle.
Yeah, that's for sure a character one. Yeah. All
There-
right.
There are some. But this one, it kind of doesn't quite hit the mark.
Well,
Oh, well, I think we chose it
well,
as an example of a
exactly.
middling episode that maybe we could see if we could dig out some, redeeming features and is it essential in a way that we don't understand?
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of the challenge, and the answer that we have come to is no.
But I know that fandom really likes this episode in part because I think, the Gabrielle stuff is so cute and
Right,
winning.
yeah.
I think if you're a big fan of Renee O'Connor's, maybe this
this is
essential
a
ad.
huge
Yeah.
one for Renee and Gabrielle. She is genuinely
She's amazing.
amazing in it.
Yeah.
All her comedy
I
lands.
don't want to throw it away.
It is so funny. I mean, that's my takeaway from
You got to go back. Once
the
you watch the
rewatch.
essentials, then you love the show.
Did we
then
put
you go
this on
back.
the best Gabisodes list? I bet we didn't.
Probably not.
But maybe we should have.
Yeah.
Maybe that was a mistake.
Well,
I don't know if we did comedies for her that much.
No.
You always gravitate
But
toward the drama.
That's partially, our own bias of
Yes,
being
yes,
anti-comedy.
yes, yes. Drew, thank you so much for being our patron and for your hard work with this worksheet.
Yeah.
It is truly magnificent.
Yeah, I love
I
this.
am in awe of it. I mean, the numbers, I can't even handle them. I've already said it.
we don't math.
So, and thank you for, showing this show to your son, and
Yes.
hopefully he'll show it to his children. Oh my God,
Xena
Forever.
All right.
follow us on all the stuff and things.
Yeah. XenaWarriorPodcast.com. Find all the stuff there. You can follow us subscribe on Apple Podcasts where you can rate and leave reviews, which we love to read. We are on Twitter at XenaWarriorPod and Facebook and other stuff. Xena Warrior Podcast. What else do we do? Patreon, of which we are. We still got a good chunk left in the Lucy Lawless IMDb experience. We just did Spartacus, and we're moving on from there. So you can check that out at patreon.com/XenaWarriorPodcast. We're also on Spotify now.
Yay.
I think we said that before, but you can listen there, as well as literally anywhere else that you listen to podcasts. The end.
The power.
The passion.
The podcast.